Welcome, everyone, to the 6th episode of the All Stuff, No Fluff podcast, a show where we talk with friends about the games and stuff we like on a monthly basis. So, for those of you who follow the show, you're already aware that we took the month of July off. So, going into this next episode, we have a ton to talk about, including the release of both Skyward Sword. There's also that new Star Fox rumor that's going around, and not to mention the most recent Pokemon Presents, showcasing more info on Pokemon Legends Arceus. And, of course, we have things to look forward to, like the next rumored Nintendo Direct in September, and the final Smash DLC fighter, which will, by my estimation, be dropping sometime before year's end. So, yeah, lots of stuff, and we're going to get to all that. But for now, let me use this opportunity to welcome and thank our lovely panel of folks that have joined us today. Just for a quick refresher today, we have Kira. So, Kira, why don't you go ahead and start us off with our little opening segment here. What have you been up to lately?
Hi, yeah, nothing much, just chilling like everyone else at home, mostly playing a lot more video games than I was playing last time we talked on the podcast, so hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah. What kind of games have you been playing?
Oh man, well, I recently bought World Ends With You, not the new one, not Neo, because I got the remix, like of the remake of the first one, and I've been playing that for the first time. That's a blast. I've been playing a little game. You guys might know it. It's called Skyward Sword.
Yes.
What's
for
that?
the very first time. I had never heard of the game before. It's crazy, but I played it, and I actually beat it. It's the second game in the Zelda series, I think it's called, that I've ever beaten.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
Is that the series with Groose in it?
Yeah, I've heard of
couldn't
it.
tell you.
That's the legendary
I know
series.
Bruce. The other people, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so some Skyward Sword and some... Man, that's a lot of single-player stuff.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's good to have time to play games finally.
Yeah, that's awesome. Alex, why don't you fill us in? What's been
Hi.
going on over there in Alex land?
A lot. I moved across the country.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The last episode, I think I was on vacation here in California, visiting family that I hadn't seen. I decided later on that trip to fully move back to California. So end of August, I threw all my stuff into storage pod and flew across the country. And now I live in California, and all of my stuff is showing up at my door on Tuesday the 14th. And then I can actually have my setup put together and do that. I will say, though, I've done very little gaming aside from playing Switch games. Hades is a great game to play on planes. I will say that. Hades is a great
saw you
game.
post
Go buy
about that.
Hades. Yeah, go buy
I've
Hades.
heard so much great things about Hades.
Yeah, Hades.
Wow.
Hades is incredible. Worth it. Especially on Switch, because if you have the PC version and the Switch version, they have cross-save. And the other console versions
nice.
do not, which is real fun. But I played that, and then I've been kind of waiting for most of my other stuff to show up. So, aside from that, don't have a lot. Except I've also been just watching movies. I've been binging the Fast and Furious movies with my friends, because my friend wanted to.
Man, nothing scares me more than, moving. Even, in the same city. I can't imagine across the country like that. That sounds so stressful.
It's been a lot. It's so much paperwork and then other logistics. It'll be fine. It's been fine. There were a couple places where I wanted to lose my mind, but aside from that, it's been relatively painless, so...
Well, that's good. You seem in good spirits about it, too, which is also... just grand.
Also, yeah, air tags are really good because I was able to track everything across the country.
Oh.
Yeah.
You just stick them in a bag or something?
Stick them in a box, stick them in the car. As long as they're near an iPhone, they'll update position, so I get to watch it and travel.
Smart. Yeah. I never thought about that.
It's really good.
I love technology. Sam, what have you been up to?
A little bit of everything. I've been traveling a lot too, so I've gotten a lot of Switch Airline playtime in.
Yeah.
So I'm playing Skyward Sword, of course. I actually have not gotten super far in it. I keep taking breaks and then not picking it back up. So gotta finish that. I've been playing a ton of Pokemon Unite. I don't want to know how many hours I have. I pick it up and play at least a few games every day. And sometimes a few games turns into like 20 games. Can't help it. Let's see. I've been working on Famicom Detective Club again, which I haven't finished either of the 2 Famicom Detective Club games, but I love them. They're super good stories. Like, if you're down for a good story, Famicom Detective Club, very worth it. What else? Indie games. So we just had an indie direct not too long ago, and I picked up Slime Rancher for the first time. I've never played it, and it's super fun.
Wow.
And Garden Story is another really fun one. Fun little indie game I've been playing.
That one looks so cute.
It's really cute, and it's funny because there's kind of a lot of typos in it. I'm not really sure how that happened, but I spent most of the game like, oh, that's weird grammar, but okay.
It's the wrong your.
Yeah, but it's still a really fun game. I think that's my favorite of the indie games that I've played that have come out recently.
Nice.
And then last but not least, Warioware just came out, and I haven't played it yet, but I just want to make a note of it because I got a box from Wario yesterday.
Yeah.
I opened it today, and I will just say that my entire desk that I've been sitting at for hours smells like garlic.
You're
Oh my
friends with
God.
Wario?
I'm best
Wow.
friends with Wario.
Friends with Wario.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lucky.
Well, cool. Do you
Well,
want
I
to
don't
give
know
us
if
a little?
everything smelling like garlic makes me lucky,
But now you
garlic
can like
is
cook
good
something
luck
with
and-
Wario garlic.
it's
true.
I also-
not real garlic. It's
Oh,
the
lame.
unfortunate thing.
Like,
It's
they
just
just-
the garlic smell.
They just threw garlic smell on a bunch of like plush garlic and just shipped it off.
No, worse. There's garlic air fresheners.
Oh, I
So-
personally don't mind the smell of garlic.
Question.
But
I
I
it
like the
can,
smell of garlic,
like,
but I
overwhelm
like
my
it tastes like
room.
real food.
Who's ordering
Yeah.
air fresheners with a garlic scent? Aside from random runoff jokes.
Wario.
Aside from that, why is that a thing that's... I get a specialty thing. Why is that an option for anything else?
I don't know, man.
I do
Some
not
guys, maybe someone wakes up and they're like, I love the smell of garlic in the morning. Like, I don't know.
Wario.
Y'all are
don't know.
insane.
Okay.
Well, Sam,
Sorry,
did you
that
manage
was a
to do
lot.
any gaming while you were in Florida?
Let's see. While I was in Florida,
I mean, she had that VR
not
headset.
really. Well, I had a fake VR headset. So I was just in Disney, and I dressed as the grandmother from the final scene in Carousel of Progress, and she plays like a VR space game of some kind. But I think, aside from Pokemon Unite, which I did play every night in the hotel room, the only thing I really played was Pokemon Go, because there's a ton of gyms in Disney World. If you
That's-
didn't
Oh
know.
yes.
Oh, yes.
I am fully aware.
Oh, noted.
I remember the last time I was there, I was just playing 3D All Stars in my bed. Like, there's not really
there's
much
pretty
energy
good
that I have to
Wi-Fi
do
there,
anything else.
so why not?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I downloaded the game and everything. Amanda, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm very worn out because I had my final stripe test for Kung Fu, and in 6 months is when I should be able to test for black, 6 months for a year. So it's like my last belt below black. So I had that today, so I'm super tired. Went to PAX.
And you passed.
Yeah, went to PAX. That was pretty cool. Yo Schiller and I were on a panel together.
Thanks for having me on the panel.
Yeah, I'm so glad you got to be on there. It was a lot of fun. And then the week before, I was helping out with the Ranger Stop and Pop convention and moderated a couple of panels there. So, like, did two conventions back to back. Haven't done that since like 2019. And been playing some Stardew just because that is my calm my brain down game. Played some Skyward Sword. What else have I played? Some Hollow Knight. I tried out a really cute game at PAX called Curse to Golf, and that game looks adorable. It, like, even the death animation was cute. And just getting ready for Metroid Dread.
Nice.
Hype.
How are you getting ready for it?
Being excited for it. and saying, hey, you should get Metroid Dread. That's how I'm getting ready for it. I need to play, like, more of, like, another Metroid game between now and then.
You've played more
Which
than
one
I
are you
have,
gonna do?
though.
Yeah, well, I need to play more. I need to play like the rest of the Prime trilogy at some point.
You have until Prime 4 comes out for that.
That's true. I never played Zero Mission. That's like the one that I really need to play, I feel like.
Oh, I just played that for the first time like a month ago. It was an amazing experience.
I haven't finished any of them, if it makes you feel any better.
Yeah, me neither.
I feel
I was
like,
gonna
well,
try.
except
I
for
feel like
Federation.
Elias will be very ashamed in me if I don't finish them.
Elias
October
will be
8th is
ashamed in
coming up
both of
fast.
us.
That's true. Elias is just going to be like perpetually disappointed.
I mean, I feel like I've disappointed a lot of people recently, so it's fine. This is
All right,
nice.
Yoshiller, round us out. What have you been up to?
Yes, sir. So, back in August, I went on a family vacation to Hawaii for my mom's 60th birthday. So I hung out there for a bit. Thank
Congrats
you.
to your mom.
Happy birthday to her.
Yeah, thank you. Then I went to PAX West just a couple weeks later. And I have been finishing up Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And I need to wrap that up on my channel so then I can get back to finishing up new Pokemon Snap so that can be done before the next big Nintendo game that I want to record comes out, whatever that may be. I also recently received Space Invaders Invincible Collection from Taito. And while they did send me the game for free, they're not telling me to talk about it during this podcast. I am choosing to talk about it during this podcast because I was thoroughly impressed with how much fun I was having playing freaking Space Invaders in 2021 on my Switch.
What the?
They have
What?
it's
The future
a
is
collection.
here.
It's a collection of Space Invaders games. Space Invaders. Space
Wow.
Space Invaders. It was great. It was fun. All right. Aside from that, I don't. It has been a while since we did our last podcast, huh? I've been playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Did I mention that on the podcast last time or no? Because
You did.
that's that game that makes me just happy that it exists. And I guess I've moved on from that game to Space Invaders now. So that's where I'm at.
Did the collection
That's
of
so
Space
random.
Invaders?
Space Invaders.
Did it come
Space
with
Invaders.
Did it come from the one that was like super 3D looking that tried to be like a really gritty 3D remake of Space Invaders?
I didn't see that one on there, but there is one from. There's one from like 2018 or 2019 that effectively just turns it into a hardcore, like Touhou type of game. And I'm like, what is happening?
That might be the one I'm referring to because I remember
Well,
seeing
it's
it.
not-
and
it's
I
not
don't remember what
3D.
year. Oh, it's not 3D.
It's not. It's,
Okay.
No, none of them are 3D. So, I've been having a blast with it. Pun partially intended. I've been saying that a lot, but I have been enjoying it.
All right. So I said Yoshilla round us out, but I totally forgot that I haven't even said anything yet.
Yeah, what have you been
So-
doing,
Yeah,
Alec?
host. Yeah, host. Come on.
Yeah. So for me personally, I've been really good about eating better and living a healthier lifestyle, just in like a general sense. So much so that this past month, I don't know if many of you have been keeping up, but I reached the target weight that I was going for and working on
Hey.
since December.
Hell yeah.
And I am
Ew,
officially
congrats.
down. Yeah, I'm officially down 36 pounds, which is weird
Wow,
whenever you
wow.
put the
Let's
numbers
go.
to it.
Good for you,
But
dude.
yeah, I'm feeling really good about it. I'm just really happy that I was able to stick with it until now.
Congrats.
And yeah, let me see. I also what? Okay, so anyway, aside from my health and eating habits and whatever, I've been playing a ton of Pokemon Unite. So much so that last I checked, I'm already over the 200-300 hour mark, somewhere in there. It's just one of those games that's been really scratching the multiplayer itch for me. And since the game is getting updates as frequently as it is, I don't really see myself dropping the game anytime soon either. Other than that, though, and this actually kind of serves as a nice little segue into our next topic, I've also been playing a lot of Skyward Sword HD as well, which it sounds like a few of us on this panel have been doing the same thing. I've been streaming my own playthrough of the game, and we on the guides team at Zelda Universe have also been playing through it to grab all the screenshots and stuff to update our guide with all the new HD goodness. So, yeah, I'm pretty much playing the game twice, and honestly, I'm really loving it. Playing through this game again has been a real treat, and more than I would have thought before it launched. And while I have a few minor gripes about the game, like motion controls being slightly wonkier than they were on Wii, I still think this is a fantastic game and a near perfect way of playing it. And God, like the music, the visuals, I just love it. I've also really loved watching some of you guys play this game on your respective channels as well. Like you, Kira, like you just finished it like last week or something?
Yeah, last week I sure did.
Yeah. So, what have your thoughts been on the game so far? Good, bad, overall?
Man.
Let's hear it.
So many mixed feelings. Like I think before I really talk too much about it, my history with Zelda has been super complicated. Like, back when Ocarina of Time came out, that is the game that all the kids at school were talking about, and I rented it from Blockbuster. The game scared me to death.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that got scared of that game as a kid.
Was it the skulls or the dead hands?
Majora's Mask?
I have intense arachnophobia.
Yup, okay,
So
I relate to
even
this.
At the very beginning of the game, as a kid, terrified me. So I gave the game back to Blockbuster, and I did not touch The Legend of Zelda until like Wind Waker. I played maybe 12 hours of Wind Waker, and I didn't really touch any other Zelda game. So, I don't really know anything about Zelda, about its lore, about its gameplay, and just so much characters I don't know. Well, then Breath of the Wild came out, and I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. So last year, I played through all of Breath of the Wild and beat it. It was the first Zelda game I ever beat. And, that's a very different experience from what I'm aware from every other Zelda game. So I decided, I was like, I'm going to work backwards. Skyward Sword's getting its HD remake, picked it up, and was like, I'll play it on stream. And did not realize that the first temple has spiders in it.
Yup.
What a coincidence.
That was very rough. But I
was
got
about to
through
ask
it.
about that.
It was very scary. There are clips on Twitch of me yelling. But it overall, I would say that I'm very glad that I played the game. And I think from an artistic standpoint, it's amazing. The music is some of the best I've heard in any Zelda game. I've watched my husband play several of the Zelda games, but some of the dungeons in the game and some of the puzzles are less than desirable, but that is coming from someone who is not someone who seeks out puzzle games and challenges such as Zelda. So I think, I could see Zelda fans, loving this game. I don't understand why it gets as much hate as it does, but I would say that I enjoyed it, but I don't think I'd ever play it again.
I think that's completely understandable.
But I do love it. It could be, it's Breath of the Wild I love to death, but I respect the game a lot. I think it gets too much hate for how clean of a game it is, personally.
It really does, and I think in the grand scheme of things, I don't think this is a controversial opinion, but I don't think Skyward Sword is as strong of a Zelda experience as some of the games before it. So I wouldn't really let that deter you from trying out some of the other ones either.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's definitely not the best, but it's also not horrible that it deserves like all the reputation that it's gotten over the years. Although I think that is actually starting to shift a little bit.
Yeah, I think the HD remake has really helped it out, because I remember when it came out on the Wii, my brother bought it for the Wii back in 2010, and, watching it was a fun experience, even though I never played it, and I just always wondered why there was so much hate, controls aside, for this game. And honestly, while playing through the game for the first time, I never got it. I never got why it does have it's either one or the other. It's either Zelda fans love it, it's their favorite game, or I've noticed it's their least favorite game in the mainline series. And I think it's a clean game. What can I say?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think this is actually a pretty good group of people to talk about Zelda with.
Yeah, no kidding. What am I talking about Zelda for? I don't know what anything.
What's Zelda?
I was asking so many dumb questions, like, you don't even want to know. Just so many dumb questions because I didn't understand any of the lore. Like, I thought that the Zora were in it. Like, I thought the water dragon in the game was like a Zora. I didn't know what I was talking about.
I mean, it could be like an early version of a Zora.
Yeah, sure.
It's the first game in the timeline. It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that makes
also
me feel so much better.
I also appreciate the fact that there's another person here that is also badly arachnophobic. Is it not the most pain in the ass thing in the world? Because it's like, I want to play these games. It has spiders. Shame.
Maybe
Can't play it.
Yeah. Yep. That's me.
Well, you, Alex, you were like 100%ing it, right? How far had you gotten into that?
So the goals is still 100%. We've gotten through the first 3 dungeons, and then I had to move, and
Yeah.
and because I'm playing the game on stream specifically, the plan is I probably may not start playing it until November because I'm going really hard on Spooky next month because it's October and I have to.
Gotta do spooky.
right.
So, yeah, even if I hate it as I'm doing it, but I gotta commit because it's spooky time. But I haven't gotten that far in, but from what I've played, 'cause I've been playing mostly motion, I do really enjoy it. I have not experimented right now with the motion, with the non-motion controls. Although I've been noticing, I don't know if it's just with the Joy-Cons that I have, because I got the Zelda Joy-Cons. Anybody doing motion, have your controllers stopped syncing at some point? Like mid-game.
Play
Connected
motion.
to the console?
Like they have like to
Like where you have to
reset
hit the
connect.
little buttons on the side.
Like they have to reconnect mid-game.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Okay, because I've never
haven't
dealt
had
with
that
that
happen to me.
before, and that's very odd. So
That happens to me on one pair of Joy-Cons that I have when they're plugged in or not plugged in, and it's only that pair, and I think it's just effective.
yeah, one of them is just
Weird.
the Zelda Joy-Cons. Granted, they're now easier to come by. It looks like, but it's not ideal. But I've enjoyed it. I've done a lot. I've enjoyed just throwing dumb voices at the characters, like making Bruce Patrick Warburton because I can.
Why not?
Amanda, thoughts?
I mean, I'm enjoying playing Skyward Sword. Like, I have been doing the button controls because I can't do the motions because my hands shake too much. But
Okay.
I think it's a really fun one. I like it because I like the strong characters in it and the character choices and everything. I think it's a really good character development game. I've just said character like 5 times in the same sentence, and that's okay. Because that's what the panel that I just did was about. So it was all about like the characters of Zelda and driving Link forward and all that.
Yeah. Well, I
Your
think that's a good
sentence
point
is
to
too
make
long.
about Skyward Sword.
Your sentence is too long. Can you remove a few characters from me?
Oh my gosh.
So, like, overall, I guess you think, like, it's still pretty good.
I
you know?
do. I had forgotten how much fun I had with that game when I started playing it again. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so much more fun than I remember. And I need to finish the HD version because I kept getting distracted on other stuff. And then Z-Youthon happened. But it's yeah, I guess we didn't even mention Z-Youthon happening. Yeah,
Oh,
Z-Youthon
right, that thing
happened. That was
happened.
a thing.
Yeah, lots of Zelda stuff today.
Yeah.
So,
it's been a
are
Zelda
you like me
month.
in that I played the original when it came out, and then I just haven't touched it since, and then the HD version came out, and I just, like, forgot everything
Same,
about
yeah.
the game?
Yeah, 100%.
I kind of like, though, that I
like,
did
it's
that
been
because
a
it's almost like
decade.
playing it for the first time again.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Like, there are just some things about it that I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, the sassy lady in the bazaar who, like, hates my presence, but also, I think, kind of likes me?
Yep.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she's in love
Beatrice?
with you.
I
Yeah,
cosplayed
yeah.
her right before the game came out. Like, I put it
When
on
I
and
saw
then
her
I
in the
took
game,
it
I was
off and
like,
got on an
oh,
airplane for a
yeah.
trip.
Yeah. I totally forgot about her, and then I saw her in the game, and I was like, wow, interesting. Seems like I've forgotten some stuff in a decade. Weird how that works.
A whole decade,
Weird
yeah.
decade. Ugh. What about you, Sam? Have you been playing Skyward Sword at all?
Yeah, I'm only about, I think, 6 or 7 hours in the game, just in the first dungeon area, just getting to the first dungeon, and I love Skyward Sword. Somebody said, like, Zelda fans seem to either love it or hate it. I'm in the love spectrum. And I think most of it is because, again, depends on the person, but for me, I'm big into Zelda lore, and I just distinctly remember experiencing the story for the first time, and because it is like the first Zelda in the Zelda timeline, it's pretty significant for those reasons. And I think also all of the improvements that they've made are felt like tenfold when I play. So like I really liked the original and I played it happily with motion controls and it was fine. But now having the option to shut them off when I don't feel like using them and having the free camera and the shorter tutorials, they're big noticeable improvements and I've really enjoyed them.
Yeah, 100%. The game just feels like pacing wise just a bit less slow in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that a lot of, like as you said, a lot of the mandatory tutorials before are have now become optional. You really feel that, especially in, I would say, maybe like the first hour.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff that you see in the first hour of Skyloft is just people telling you how to do things, which you could just find out on your own anyway. So you really don't need those kinds of conversations like the learning how to use your sword and learning how to roll and all this other stuff that kind of just weighed the experience down initially. Make this version feel like, I would say, the definitive way to play. But I guess, I don't know, there's some people out there that might feel differently about that. And one thing I will say about you, Sam, before we move on to this next topic, you seem to really gravitate towards the Zelda games that are just so divisive.
I don't know why.
I think that's really cool.
I think like
you really love Wind Waker too, right?
Oh yeah, Wind Waker's my favorite Zelda game.
Yeah.
Like, by a long shot. And the funny thing is, in my head, Wind Waker is quintessential Zelda. Like it's mechanics-wise, it's quintessential Zelda, and story-wise, quintessential Zelda. It's just like the Zelda game to me. And there are a lot of other people who don't feel that way, which is interesting. Interesting, but whatever.
Yeah. I think we've seen that a few times on the comment sections of some of your TikTok videos, I believe.
Yeah. People on TikTok are
Those are always fun to
different
just
breed, but yeah.
watch. Yeah. But no, that's cool. Okay, so pretty much everybody. Yoshiller, have you played Skyward Sword at all?
Nope.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh,
well,
Good answer.
I will say,
yeah, let's hear it.
Alec was actually here for this in stream. Be honest, am I just bad at video games, or was it supposed to take me 2 hours to beat the final boss?
Oh.
Alec was there
Oh,
for that.
I honestly
wow.
can't remember how long it
Yes.
took me, but
It's
I
a
mean,
long boss.
It
The
usually
fight
takes me
does
forever.
take a while.
I don't know how
It's
many
pretty
times I
hard.
tried, but it did feel very satisfying to beat it. And like, I don't want anyone to think I'm ever hating on the game, because from a cinematic perspective and a character perspective, one of the best I think I've seen in terms of presentation. So, you know, while puzzles aren't my personal thing, I think that if you're a fan of Zelda, it's probably one of the best games out there, honestly, in terms of like the Zelda franchise. So I did want to throw that out there.
I think you do make a good point. Music-wise, it's really high tier. It's not my favorite Zelda game, but the music is so good.
Yeah.
It's got good music and good writing, and also never apologize for being bad at video games.
Oh,
No, I am the
it's
worst at video
embarrassing.
games.
My whole
Actually
brand
embarrassing.
is based on that fact.
Oh God, I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yeah, I'm not super
You-
great at them, but I have fun with them, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Very true.
It's a
You're good.
game.
You're
You are
good, Kira.
playing. You don't have to be good.
Right.
Unless you're like
Good.
doing
That
it
makes you feel
competitively to make money. That's a little different.
Competitive Skyward Sword.
Speedrun it.
Yeah.
So, this is the topic. I'm going to preface it with this. This next topic I added last minute. I would say maybe like an hour ago, just because it's been talked about this week. A few of you are asking about what exactly I was talking about whenever I brought it up earlier before we started recording, but we'll go ahead and use this as an opportunity to talk about it now. Star Fox Zero, Switch port. Platinum has made a statement saying that they would be open to the idea of bringing Star Fox Zero to the Switch, should the opportunity present itself. I know that game is pretty much like Wind Waker and Skyward Sword for Zelda. Star Fox Zero is pretty divisive for Star Fox's fan base as well. So I want to get you guys' thoughts a little bit on exactly what that would look like, what you would think about bringing that to the Switch, and how exactly they would tackle the whole second screen mechanic. Because I think, if I remember correctly, that was a pretty major part of the gameplay. So take it away, Yoshiller. I'm sure you have some pretty interesting thoughts about that.
Of course I do. Thank you. Let me start with this. I think I've said this on this podcast before. Star Fox has not been looking so hot for the past few years, right? It's Star Fox Zero comes out, and it's very clear that Nintendo is trying to do this big marketing push with it. You know, half of their E3 2015 booth was dedicated to Star Fox. They had the big Muppet promotion with the advertising and whatever, and they delayed the game to make sure it was really what they wanted it to be, and I'm sorry, it flopped. It did not even sell 1 million units. I feel so bad. And think what you want of the game, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it was a financial flop. Then, the Star Fox characters are used in Ubisoft's game Starlink, just after they were riding on the success of Mario plus Rabbids. They're like, let's work with more Nintendo IPs. Let's incorporate Star Fox in this IP. And then Starlink bombed. And I just feel like Star Fox is a little bit doomed. And I feel so bad saying that. Oh yeah, they even had that little anime promotion that was animated by the Attack on Titan team, right?
Yeah, that's
they
right.
really wanted it to be the next big thing, and it didn't work out. And so that brings us to now, where people really like the characters, but the actual IP, who knows? You know, you look at the other IPs owned by Nintendo R&D. Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and Animal Crossing are their big four, right? You see those Nintendo Store shirts with those characters on it. But they also own Star Fox and Pikmin, but we'll see what happens with Pikmin. They also got Star Fox, and you don't see Star Fox characters on there, and maybe there'll be a chance if Star Fox Zero gets brought over to the Switch. All this to say, because Star Fox Zero did not perform super well on the Wii U, I actually think it would have a better chance being on the Switch, because the Switch kind of makes a lot of games do better. Even Pikmin 3 Deluxe did a lot better on the Switch. So I would be totally in favor of it. I don't think they need to do a big marketing blowout like they did on the Wii U. I think they could just kind of do something really quick, really small, and just be like, all right, let's get an extra 2 million units sold and call it a day. You know, let's reinvigorate the Star Fox franchise. And as to how it would work, I think it would boil down to one of two options. Option number one is you just have a button that lets you switch between the cockpit view and the overall third-person view. You just press like ZL or something, and or X or something, and that just switches your views. That's option number one. Option number two would be that you kind of omit the first-person view in its entirety, which I know kind of avoids the point of the game, but I think that would be an option that people would be okay with. So that's how I think you do it. I think if they bring it to Switch, though, they need to do what they've been doing with other Switch games and add like an extra mode or just extra content to it. Even if it's just a multiplayer mode, I'm sold. I'm set. Doesn't have to be online. I'd love for it to be online. But they got to do something, because merely bringing the game over to Switch, it's not going to attract a lot of people, because it's a much more controversial game than Mario Kart or what else? Pikmin, Donkey Kong, you know? So that's where I'm at. I'm in favor of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I like the idea of being able to switch between the screens, although I would probably make a little bit of an amendment there and say that maybe you can have, like, at all times, pinned to the top, like, the view of the other screen that you would switch to. So that, at the very least, you get an idea of what's going on at any given time versus having to swap between them constantly. That would be another solution, too, but I don't know. I mean, personally, whenever it came out, it's one of the first games Nintendo sent to me for review, back when they sent out review copies. And at the time, I thought it was good. It wasn't amazing, and it's definitely not my favorite Star Fox game. And I remember whenever I reviewed it and posted the video online, there were some people that were just completely disgusted by the fact that I gave it any sort of positive praise. So if that's any indication as to the community reception of that game, it wasn't great whenever it first launched. And if we've learned anything from, just time passing and, Switch ports coming from Wii U and getting remastered and redone and retooled, like Skyward Sword, for example, or even Mario Galaxy, I guess, to kind of have a little bit more of a better example. I think any of those titles have a way better shot at performing better than they did on the Wii U, simply because of the install base, and also the potential to write any, I'll call it an oversight, as far as design goes. Because the original was fine, and it played great on the gamepad and everything, but it didn't really feel intuitive. It didn't really feel polished in that way. So I guess that would present another opportunity for it. But I know, but when I brought this up earlier, a couple of you were confused. So I know Amanda's a Star Fox fan. She specifically of Adventures, right? The one with Crystal.
I love Star Fox.
Stairfax.
Yeah. What would you think about Zero specifically
So,
coming to the Switch?
If there are some improvements on the Wii U version, I would be ecstatic because I played Star Fox Zero when it first came out. I played it at E3 and got to sit in the cockpit of the R-Wing, and I felt so freaking cool.
That was my
Getting
that was
the
like the
little
most, oh my gosh, coolest experience ever. And I was so excited for Star Fox Zero because like I'd been wanting to play a new Star Fox game because it's just one of my favorite series. And I got it, and I don't know, I could not handle the dual screens thing. I couldn't do it. And I would love for them to port it to the Switch because it's a beautiful game. But I like the idea, like Yoshiller was saying, where you just kind of press the button to see the other screen. I think that would work instead of having to like constantly look at two screens and hold it weird. I think if they worked it a little better, it would be a great game. The only thing I don't really like is that it's apparently like a reboot of 64 and like took out all the characters that came after 64 or something like that. And I'm just going, but I liked everybody in Adventures so much.
Let me explain why they kind of had to do that, though.
Okay.
Because prior to Star Fox Zero, the most recent Star Fox game, yes, there was Star Fox 64 3D. Prior to that, there was Star Fox Command. And in Star Fox Command, there's multiple endings. And each one is kind of drastic. Like,
yes.
one of them...
Yes, they are.
One of them rather infamously is Fox and Falco quit Star Fox and become F-Zero pilots. Like, that's one of the endings.
Like, no joke,
I mean,
when
it's
I
a
was
great
told
ending.
that, I thought everybody was trolling me and just, like, coming up with stupid endings, and then I watched it and I'm going, oh my gosh, these are all real?
Yeah.
Is
So,
it
but there's other
one
ones...
Fox becoming an alcoholic?
Yeah. Yeah, Falco goes and makes Star Falco. Slippy has like 30 kids. They're all pretty drastic, okay?
Doesn't Crystal, like, go and have, like, a threesome with, like, Panther and...
Panther, yes.
And Wolf? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, that's actually just in the plot. That's like not even part of an ending. So no matter what, that happens.
Oh. Wow.
But all this to say, if you're going to create a new Star Fox game in the same canon, you basically have to pick one ending and continue from there, which makes the other 12 or so endings of that game kind of null and void. So I guess they figured the easiest option was just to go back to Miyamoto's Star Fox characters, because Miyamoto was the director of the game, and say, all right, Star Fox 64's cast again. So,
Okay, that makes sense.
So that means no Crystal, which, to give him a lot of credit, as we all know, Star Fox Adventures was not even supposed to be a Star Fox game.
Right.
I give him a lot of credit for still continuing the canon and including Crystal and all those other characters and whatnot, too. But it was only a matter of time before they were like, well, we kind of hit the end of this timeline. We need a...
Timeline
we either
split.
we either got to like do a spiritual successor or we got to start over. So
Okay,
That's what they
that
did.
makes sense.
all right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not saying they had to do Star Fox 64 again, but they couldn't really continue from where Command left off.
Well, unless they started it with
boy.
Fox and Falco in F-Zero.
That's
where's that
that's where the
Star Fox
F-Zero
racing game?
franchise gets rebooted.
Where's that Star Fox racing game?
I want it.
I'd play it.
So yeah. Overall temperature. Does anybody else have any extra thoughts on Star Fox?
I'll say that I want it. I love 64. It's one of my favorite like N64 games. I loved the 3D remake. I haven't played Star Fox Adventures, but I did buy it on GameCube, and it's one of the games I plan on playing at some point this year when I get around to it. And like to stream, so I'm excited to play it. I would love to see that come back more. I think Zero, I like the ideas that Yoshila brought out, but I'm also seeing a lot of people being like, it's still a 64 clone. It's like,
But
I
it's
do
beautiful.
It is. However, would I want that over just getting the original Star Fox 64 onto the Switch, which I feel like I would want slightly more than Zero.
Yeah, let me put it to you this way. If you're making a Wii U game, we're talking about like the Wii U's just come out. It's the first year on the market, and someone at Nintendo comes up to you and says, "All right, we need you to develop a new hit Wii U game that takes advantage of the gamepad. What do you got?" And you're like, "Oh, you know what? We got to do a Star Fox game. Oh, you know what'd be cool? What if on the gamepad you had like a cockpit view, you had the first person view. On the TV you had the big third person view, but you use the gamepad to aim." Like, doesn't that sound
Oh, no,
cool?
on paper it sounded fantastic. And I remember being like, wow, this is super cool at E3.
Right, which is why I'm not mad at them. I get it. It is a little difficult to control. I enjoyed my time with the game, but I do admit there's what, like 20 levels in the game. I remember like 6 of them. Those are the 6 I found pleasant. I don't really remember the other 14 that I didn't find pleasant. I get it. You know, I totally get it. I did not like really controlling anything that wasn't the default R-Wing. I didn't care for the little hovercraft thing where you control the robot or whatever. Not really my thing. But all this to say, I still think it could just work on Switch. I really do. If they actually, all they really have to do, if they want to count it as its own thing, Star Fox Zero, when it released on Wii U, came with Star Fox Guard. If they just put that on the same cartridge as Star Fox Zero, like you boot up the game and Star Fox Guard is just part of it,
they could. Technically,
that's still the same value, and they just put it on Switch and they just retool that a little bit so it only requires one screen.
Maybe they add
an
extra mode, like an extra story mode to it, like how they did with Bowser's Fury. Maybe they do a new sort of test the waters with that port to see, okay, do people like this, and then go from there.
Yeah,
Crystal.
I just want more Star Fox stuff because here's my hot take, okay? When people say they're Star Fox fans, 9 out of 10 times, Amanda, you're the 1 out of 10. 9 out of 10 times, what they're really saying is they like Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Not many people played Star Fox Assault. Not many people
played
played Star Fox. You played, yeah. You're the 1 out of 10.
Okay. I mean,
not many people.
This is, Amanda Van Heil, certified gamer here. Come on.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Not
I did
many-
say it on the news
verified.
that I am a gamer.
They don't call
Not
us
many
gamer for
people.
nothing.
Not many people have played Star Fox Assault or Adventures. Not many people have played Command. And I guess Star Fox 64 3D did okay. But that's Star Fox 64.
It's just
It's still 64.
That leaves you with Star Fox 2 on the SNES Mini, and I guess a fair share of people played that one, but it's kind of a tragedy. I really want Star Fox to do well, because everyone loves the characters, but when they say they're a Star Fox fan, I think they just mean they like Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think I'll inevitably root for the idea of Star Fox Zero making its way to Switch, just because it just gives more love to the Star Fox series, right? It's not my favorite game, and if it was my own dream world, I would definitely prefer Star Fox Command to be brought over to the Switch. That being remastered with HD visuals and online multiplayer sounds freaking sick, especially
Star Fox
for the
Command
Switch.
did have online multiplayer.
Yeah, and it was so fun. But if I have to just take one L, right, and have it just be Star Fox Zero, and I'm not saying it's an L, right? I do think Star Fox Zero is fine. It does feel a little familiar in that it's a little formulaic of Star Fox 64. Fine, whatever. The controls leave a little bit more to be desired. Fine, whatever. It's still Star Fox, and I enjoy Star Fox.
We're here
So-
supporting Star Fox.
Yeah, I'm here to support Star Fox. I'll get it. It's fine.
Yeah,
I think it would
just
be
have
great to
all-
just have a Star Fox anime, just a full-on anime series.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
haven't we gotten one of those? The short that they did for Zero was so cool.
I just told you
know.
why we haven't gotten more. Because
We're
Star
getting an
Fox is
anime.
doing so hot.
We're getting an
They
anime
should
for
do more.
fitness boxing.
Fitness boxing, which actually
Right?
might be pretty cool.
True.
But I will admit, it's not my first pick.
It's like I would take
It's
Star
just
Fox
strange.
over fitness boxing.
As would I.
I think a lot
Out of all the
people would.
fitness games on Switch, why not Ring Fit?
I know.
It's got a big
At least
dragon
there's a
dude and
story to
everything.
Ring Fit.
Exactly.
The dragon
guess
dude that
fitness
likes
boxing?
bench press.
Drago.
Yeah, what the?
Well, then we
What
can
the
do
heck?
fitness with Fox.
I love it.
Either
I'd buy
way,
it.
I'm looking forward to Kira's review about fitness boxing the anime. So.
Oh,
What? Me?
please.
Okay.
Same.
And we should
I gotta
review it for
watch
Zelda
it.
Universe.
Yeah,
It's Nintendo content, therefore.
that's true.
All right. We can move on to our next one here. I think we've kind of talked about Star Fox at length now. Woo. So, the big topic I wanted all of us to discuss this episode was, curiously enough, not Star Fox. It's actually the rumor going around about the possibility of a new Nintendo Direct airing soon. It's been noted by a few people as well that since 2012, so pretty much almost 10 years now, there has always been a Nintendo Direct in the first week or two of September, with the exception being 2015. I'm sure we all know that. Now, with that said, September is also the perfect time for a new presentation, as October is set to be a pretty busy month for Nintendo anyway, with titles like Metroid Dread, Mario Party Superstars, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania plus Sonic Colors and WarioWare in September that just came out. Not to mention the new Switch OLED launching the same day as Metroid Dread, and all of the new titles coming in November like Pokemon as well. Lots to talk about. Indeed. So, what do we think? Is a new Nintendo Direct likely? And if so, what's in it? Do you think we have some surprises to look forward to? What do you think, Yoshiller? I'll let you lead this one off because we talked about this not too long ago.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Historically, the reason there's been a Nintendo Direct in September is because that's usually when Nintendo feels comfortable talking about their games that are coming out in the holiday season. And generally, that's also usually among the last time they do a presentation for the year. So I previously tweeted out that Nintendo would either do a Direct right before WarioWare came out or right afterward. So now that WarioWare has come out, I would say we are in the ballpark for a Nintendo Direct. And I know September is kind of an easy month to assume there'd be a Direct anyway, because usually Nintendo ties one in with PAX West. In 2014, there was definitely a Nintendo Direct that occurred like the day before PAX, at the time PAX Prime, occurred, because that was the Direct that unveiled Shulk as a playable fighter and showcased the new 3DS. This year, Nintendo was not at PAX West, and even then, they don't usually hold it before PAX West. It's actually usually like a day or two afterward, but I digress. So I think we're gonna get one, because they still will need to follow up on Mario Party. They might talk about Metroid Dread and the OLED Switch some more, but I guess they don't have to. They would probably want to showcase the final Smash fighter in that presentation. They would need to talk about the Hyrule Warriors DLC. And if they want to follow up on Pokemon in that presentation, I guess they could. That seems to be their big holiday game this year. And I don't know about things like Splatoon 3 or Mario Rabbids, because those are coming out next year, but I guess they could touch on them there. And if that 3D Kirby game rumor is real, I would suspect that this is where it would be announced. So I think we are going to get a Nintendo Direct this week or next. I really do. If I'm wrong, sucks to be me. But I really do think it's going to happen.
Okay. So you're thinking like either this coming week. So that if it was this week, then it would probably be
Like
in 3
or 4 days, yeah. I
yeah,
really
like
do.
earlier in the week. So
Oh god,
I
it'd be
do want
Wednesday.
some
They
now.
do it Wednesdays.
Well, that's not always true. What usually happens, what I can confirm, because I used to write for Go Nintendo, specifically on Tuesday mornings, Nintendo will announce a Nintendo Direct on a Tuesday morning. And they'll say it's either coming Wednesday or Thursday. So Wednesday is usually the case, but there have been 1 or 2 times where it was Thursday.
Yeah, I do remember that.
okay.
So if we don't hear something Tuesday morning by like 8 a.m. Pacific time or 9 a.m. Pacific time, then it's probably not happening this week, and it'll probably happen next week. And if it doesn't happen next week, then I don't know. Maybe we're not getting one till
Maybe the week after. Maybe
November.
the week after.
But I really feel like it's this week. I think we just didn't get one last week because it was only a 4-day week, and I think that's the only reason.
Yeah, that's probably it. What do you think, Sam?
I've been going back and forth. For a while, I had been saying I didn't think we were going to get one in September, even though historically it makes sense. This year and last year obviously have been really weird for Nintendo Directs, so I haven't been big on following, and neither has Nintendo, on following historic dates. So originally I was thinking, actually, especially with how much coverage they've been giving Metroid Dread on their own on social media, they actually wouldn't do anything until after it came out. So I was thinking mid-October. But lately, I have been pushing that up. And now I'm thinking the week of September 27th. So write that down, and we'll see.
Okay. And then what do you think would be showcased?
A little bit of everything. I think all the holiday stuff. I think we are at the point where we're going to hear more about Breath of the Wild 2, unless there's going to be another big direct by the end of the year. Who's to say? But there could be. And that's part of the reason why I thought it was going to be farther back in October, because in my head, there's only one more big direct for the rest of the year. And if it is in September, I think it might be too early to talk about the early 2022 titles. But
Yeah, I think
Who
you're
knows?
onto something with the one more direct for the year thing.
we already got like most of what we're going to get for Arceus, I think, and for Diamond and Pearl. So I don't think we're going to get more Pokemon in the next direct. I actually don't think there's much more Metroid Dread stuff to talk about, except to like say that it's coming out soon. I'm sure they'll take any opportunity they can to hype it up. Same with the OLED Switch. But who knows what else is coming for the rest of the year.
I'm sure some people would be on the side that they don't want to hear any more about Metroid Dread, actually.
No, I don't think we need
Those
anything
people are
spoilers
wrong.
wise.
Buy
I mean,
Metroid
like-
Dread.
I've just seen,
Well,
I've
yeah,
seen
no,
so much
buy it.
discussion about like the Nintendo just showcasing too much of the game already.
I think people
why
just
I
don't
say
want to
that.
like have anything spoiled, quote unquote. People have different
Yeah.
definitions of spoilers, you know, but some people are like, I don't want to see too much because you're taking away from something. And I don't have that feeling for Metroid Dread, but I understand the feeling.
Yeah. Kira.
Oh,
what do you
man.
think?
I don't do the is Nintendo gonna have a Nintendo, because I can't predict anything ever. But I would be perfectly fine if they did not have one. I feel like I'm personally like totally okay with knowing what's coming for 2022. I've got tons of games I'm buying before Christmas even happens. But if one does happen, I'm curious to see if Genshin Impact finally gets its time
been
on
waiting
Switch.
so long.
I know, and it's just been talked about so long, and I think it would be a good time now because it's past the 1 year mark that Genshin Impact's been around. So it's time to get Switch fans into Genshin Impact now, I think.
It's gotta be close.
Oh, yes, I hope so, because
Gotta
I know
be.
so many people who would finally get into Genshin if it was on Switch. So, holding out for that. This is maybe a controversial topic, but, like, it might be time, but are people thinking that the next Mario Kart could happen?
Please.
Could be.
I hope so.
You know, we talked
Because-
about this pretty lengthy for the E3 episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we did, yeah. I feel like if it were happening, this would be a good time, but it just could totally be a thing that it's just not happening anytime soon. I'd be okay with seeing the next Mario Kart because with Mario Kart 8, I had it on the Wii U, so I personally never got it on Switch, even though it's like a much better version, and I get that, but I just never decided to upgrade to that one. So I would be happy. I would be happy with Mario Kart 9. I would definitely purchase it, given that I don't have 8 on Switch. So I'd be happy with that. And then really the only other thing that's been talked about that I'm wondering about is, well, two things. The Game Boy Color game, the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, that has been a rumor that's been floating around. Not sure what's been said recently about it, if it's could be true, if it could be false. And then also there's been rumors about the price drop for the Switch, which is shocking that is even something that would be brought up, because I feel like the Switch is obviously still selling very well at the price it is now. It seems like a very non-Nintendo move, I think, to drop the price when it's selling this much. Or am I wrong on that?
No, I wouldn't. I'm not counting on that.
They have no
Yeah.
reason to drop the price with the Switch selling as well as it does. People are just
Right.
That's not realistic.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. Is if I see all these rumors swirling around and people getting their hopes up, and for what? Most people already have a Switch that want a Switch anyway. So
Yeah.
those are flying around. But I do doubt that. That's not the time for that. Right before the holidays, you got to be kidding me.
It could
So,
be that they're
no
trying
shot.
to raise the image of the Switch OLED. That's the only thing
yeah.
I can think, is if they wanted to have like the Switch Lite and the original Switch kind of closer monetarily in some way, so that they can be like the Switch OLED looks elevated by price alone.
But then what does that say about the Switch Lite? Like, if a regular Switch
The
is going to
Switch
cost
Lite
the
is
same
already
as
cheap. It's
Yeah,
right.
man.
Even
if they're
then,
gonna
I
okay.
doubt it because
So
there's
if they're gonna drop
don't
the
think
price
it's
of a
gonna happen.
Switch. If they're going to drop the price of a Switch to a Switch Lite, like, why would you buy the Switch Lite, you know?
Right, they'd have to probably drop
That's
that
a good
too.
point.
Which I mean, that flies off shelves too. So I just
no.
don't feel like it's the right time at all. I would be shocked. I'd write my words down on a piece of paper and eat them if they decided to price cut it. Honestly,
Oh, sorry, sneezed.
but realistically, I mean, we're also. There's been rumors floating around about, and rumors are rumors, but they've been floating around about the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. I'd love to see them. I'm not going to get my hopes up or expect them, but if it happened, that would be wonderful. I think it's about time we get more of those suckers on Nintendo Switch Online,
I'd
That's a
love
good
that.
point.
I want to piggyback off that for a sec. Obviously, we all want more games on Switch Online. Game Boy Color is kind of neat. Namely because the 3DS had Game Boy Color Virtual Console, but not the Wii U. So just having your handheld games on your console is just something I've always appreciated. And the Game Boy has a good collection. I know most people think of Pokemon, but I think of Donkey Kong 94 and Super Mario Brothers Deluxe and stuff like that. Those were my jams. Wario Land 3, What I'm curious about, though, is one of the selling points of Nintendo Switch Online is that you can play the NES and SNES games online with people. If you can get a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game and play online against somebody, so the example I use is if they put Pokemon Yellow on Nintendo Switch Online
wow.
and someone else has Pokemon Yellow, can we battle each other across online? Because Game Boy doesn't do two people on one system. It requires each person to have their own system. They could sell Nintendo Switch Online with relative ease if they just say, yes, you can do your copy of Pokemon Yellow versus, I don't know, Kira's copy of Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah, or
That-
trade.
Yeah,
yes.
that would sell Nintendo Switch Online if
Instantly,
they just did that.
easily. Yeah.
Pokemon's
Well-
the easy example, but I would love if they also had Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, if they had Tetris, they had Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. If all of that was online, and I could play multiplayer Game Boy games online, that would change everything, because I'm willing to bet you most people probably did not play multiplayer on their Game Boys, which is such a missed opportunity, because a lot of the multiplayer Game Boy games are actually really good. So...
See,
we'll
that would have
to see
required
what they
having
say.
friends, which I didn't have.
Yeah, same.
Oh, see,
Hey, Amanda,
I
we can
just
play
didn't-
together then.
Yay!
I just didn't have a link cable. So that's where we're at. But that's how you do it. That would sell Nintendo Switch Online in and of itself, is just if the Game Boy Online did that.
Yeah, no, that would be... Okay, so I think Pokemon would probably be the best example of that then.
Well, yeah, that's what sold that link cable back in the day. But there's a lot of other Game Boy games that have multiplayer as well. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe just keeps popping into my head.
Yeah.
Giving
That
people
could be really cool. I didn't think of that.
giving people easier access to play Johto, like Gen 2 Pokemon, would be good too, because like Heart Gold Soul Silver is so expensive right now used
Yep.
on DS. So it would be awesome to have those games. Because if we don't have a Let's Go Johto in the works, then like I'll just,
What's the point?
I haven't played Gen 2 in forever, so I'll just pop on my Nintendo Switch Online and play Crystal,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this on the podcast, okay? There's never really
Uh-huh.
been a game that's made me cry. Like, oh, that character died. Aren't you sad, Yoshiller? Well, yeah, I'm sad. I'm not gonna cry about it though. And then recently I played Heart Gold Soul Silver, just I can't really explain why, but I did have to do it for a specific reason. And just playing it again, I was like, it's so good. Oh my god,
It's so nostalgic.
Right. I just think about how, like, Joda, when that game came out in 2009, I think, Heart Gold and Soul
Yeah.
Silver? Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
I mean,
Pokemon
that's
and
been
all.
12
2008,
years. And think of
Yeah.
all the kids who are 12, 13, teenagers who have probably never played Gen 2.
I know.
I mean, it's
so
time for
good.
Let's Go, or it's time to have it on online. That's
It looks so
Yeah.
good, and the music's so good, and it's all structured so well. And if you have a trouble with the gym leader, you can get a Pokemon that'll beat the gym leader in 5 seconds. Oh, it's so good. I love it.
My
so
favorite
much.
gen.
It's my favorite too.
That was the first
Need some
Pokemon game I
love.
ever finished.
Oh,
Was
nice.
Gen 2. It was Heart Gold Soul Silver.
That
Wow.
game will make a grown Yoshiller cry. All this to say, I would love if Gen 2 was on Game Boy Online, but I feel like if that's gonna happen, they would hold on to that. They're like, that's the last game we're ever gonna release on Nintendo Switch Online. They would
God.
do everything in their power to like never release it. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, was that the end of your thought process, Kira?
that's all.
Ah, okay. What about you, Alex?
God, just the injection of the idea that we could get a direct as soon as this week scares me. First of all, just because of oh god, now I have to plan people to record reactions, and I'm just
I'll do it.
I know you'll be the person I'm just like, well, all right, plan again. Are we good?
I've already got the whole thing down pat. Like at this point,
I think
I know
at
the
this
drill.
point we should be good. I think at this point we know what we're doing. But I do think that we're due with one because of where we are. Honestly, I kind of forgot that the Switch OLED was a thing. I flat out forgot. They've been focusing marketing on like Skyward Sword, WarioWare, and Metroid Dread that I kind of keep forgetting that the Switch OLED's a thing. And I'm just like, every time I
Yeah.
see it, I'm like, oh, right, this is a thing that's coming out. Huh. Which is just, it's weird. In terms of what I expect, at this point, it has to be the Smash character drop, unless they just decide to do a shadow drop at the Game
right.
Awards, because Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
Which they could do, but why would they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we got
Yeah.
Sephiroth, but I feel like, because we do start seeing 2020, like, next year games in the September Directs. Because I remember them announcing Xenoblade, September 2019, for the 2020 release of that. I could see them start talking a little bit more about Splatoon 3, maybe. I kind of reserve that I still don't really know if I trust the fact that, they have no more planned Zelda content for 2021 or for whatever the year. I still don't know if I buy that.
Well, you got 3 months left to decide.
And we'll
Maybe
get
that's how
the
they're gonna ring in
January,
the
and
new
the
year
answer
is
will
with new
still
Zelda
be
content.
no.
You'll get to December of this year and you'll be like, I've decided that nothing else is coming out for Zelda's anniversary. And it's like, great, well, you've got about 2 weeks left in the year, so enjoy your celebration.
Nah, it'll be the day. It'll be the last day of the year when I decide. Because it's just like,
Well.
okay, great, thanks, Alex. Great, thank you for telling us this amazing information that we all saw coming. Move on. It's fine.
New Year's is just a celebration of Alex finally making up his mind.
God, no, that's terrible. Ugh. Just that's pathetic. That's pathetic even for me. But oh man, because I feel like at this point there's a lot that we're still really in the dark on, and just in terms of a lot of rumors. Because we have a stacked October in terms of some of their bigger releases. Pokemon sort of takes November. Do they have anything big coming in December? I don't think so.
Advance Wars?
Advance Wars.
Wars.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Advance Wars, okay. Because
Wars.
Big to me.
Historically, Nintendo doesn't release stuff in December very often.
They generally don't. They usually do November, and then next is either not so much January, but February is their next big release window.
Yeah. So January we'll have Legends Arceus, but otherwise, yeah, October is pretty stacked, you're right. We don't really know if they have December or January plans.
Yeah. So, and aside from like a couple other random games that I'm looking to grab at some point, like I will grab Famicom Detective Club. I will grab WarioWare. Mario Party is my first priority. Metroid Dread's going to be there. Monkey Ball at some point, because you can play as the Dreamcast, and that's cool. And a Game Gear. How cool. I love that. But at this point, it's a lot of just what else is coming in terms of, like, are you bringing more ports? I would love to see the Star Fox ports. I'm still holding out at some point for an Ocarina port. It's not happening this year. Would love to still see it. Whatever. Maybe, like, more Paper Mario. Honestly, I have no idea at this point what to expect. It's that everything else is just... I think also because I haven't been paying attention as much because moving. There isn't enough right now that I am thinking, oh, we could be using this. That hasn't already been said except, like, Mario Kart 9, F-Zero, like... Because Metroid was one on that list. We're now getting a Metroid game, finally.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, a lot of stuff making its way down the pipeline for sure. And October is going to be really crowded. But I feel like outside of October, the rest of the year is also pretty packed too.
Oh, yeah, because we also have, like, the Gen 4 remakes, and we have all that other stuff. I will say, this would be a time of, hey, let's talk more about Switch Online, because this will be, what, 3 years? Is this 3 years of Switch Online?
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
It launched a year after the Switch came out, so yeah, in 2018.
And we got SNES, what, last year? Or 2019?
2019, because that celebrated the 1 year anniversary of Switch Online.
We didn't
get anything in 2020.
I could see them doing more stuff that and talking more about it for stuff, I guess. I mean, we're finding that more games are starting to utilize better servers that make online play better because of how good stuff like Monster Hunter Rise is online is. Pokemon Unite's online is really good, supposedly. I've only played once. I don't know about Unite, but I assume it's fine from the rest of you guys.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
So I can assume
I'm
maybe
not
they'll
very
do
good
more.
at it.
It's honestly better than League of Legends' servers because I can play in Japan with people who live in America, and I cannot do that with Wild Rift and League of Legends, which are, like, owned by the same company, Tencent. So I've been so impressed with how it runs, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, I feel like there may be more emphasis on, like, more online content to get more people onto it, I feel like. So I definitely think, if anything, Game Boy games could happen. I would love to see Game Boy Advance on there a little bit more than Game Boy because Minish Cap, that'd be great.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Although
I
I
do
want a
have a little
Minish
bit more
Cap
of a preference,
remake,
too.
but I'll take whatever.
I would like a Minish Cap remake too. I'll just take Minish Cap. Let me see Vadi and his amazing design.
I love Vadi.
I do kind of prefer GBA over regular Game Boy games. That's just my preference, though.
Same.
That's also what I started with.
Yeah, I think a
so-
lot of people
They're just
do.
more polished.
I think most people will, because that's like a portable Super Nintendo at that point.
But
Yeah.
that just seems like so much more like wishful thinking. Like, would
100%.
Nintendo 64 games have to come out before that? Because sharing a gen with
Oh,
Game Boy
Okay.
Color, I guess.
I don't remember if you were on the podcast episode where we talked about N64 Virtual Console, but I remember there was one time where I was like, yeah, it would be cool to see it for, like, I think it was like the upcoming Direct or something. And, like, immediately Push and Yoshi were like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. It's not,
Yeah, I mean,
it's not technically possible.
I want it
Game-
too.
I feel like it's like all wishful thinking until we actually confirm that we get those Game Boy and Game Boy Color games,
Oh yeah. The other
I
problem
think
with
Game Boy is more plausible just because it's a more stable system. Nintendo 64, I love those games, but the older I got, the more I realized that a lot of those games are hanging on by a thread.
the emulation of those games have always been jank. On the Wii is the
Jank.
biggest example of how the emulation is just really, really not great, or at least from what Nintendo's been using for emulation for N64. The Wii was a mess. Less so on Wii. But that's my
Well,
one
the thing
concern
about the
with that.
N64 is just visually it did not age as well as the other systems. The Super NES aged amazingly, as did
Yeah.
the Game Boy Advance. Because when you see new games being made, you see them being made in like the Super NES Game Boy style. You don't see new games being made in the style of N64.
Yeah,
as
let's
much
just
as
make it look
was a
like
great
worse
system.
3D. That sounds smart.
Yeah, I think the problem is that we've hit a point with the 16-bit design and era of the Super Nintendo that stuff will always look timeless, whereas 3D, as the technology advances, it gets better and more real. And that is the problem with those games. Those were the first games to do it. That's why if you look at Final Fantasy VII Remake and then you look at the original where you see Cloud literally chewing scenery in some scenes, like, the jump is massive. No one wants to go back to those old, like, polygonal stuff, but they have something that's newer and of the same vein and looks more realistic in that regard. But you have to appreciate the games that were the catalyst. Ocarina of Time is one of the first major adventure games that made the jump to 3D and did it successfully. Same with Mario 64. There's a reason why those games are so important to the industry. It's the problem just with how it runs well, too, I think is the other big issue. Because it's great visually, but if you can't control the damn thing, that's a problem.
Yeah. I remember Ocarina of Time Wii U Virtual Console version
It's
can't
had
do
had a few quirks
It's
about
got
it.
That's a
some
nice way of
quirks.
putting it.
Yep.
It's dreadful. It's so
And the thing
bad.
is, in that same discussion that I was talking about with Push and Yoshiller, I wasn't aware of this until we had that discussion, but apparently there's a pretty wide spread as far as, how well N64 games are put together and, like, how they're made, and basically all my hopes and dreams were thrown down the toilet, but, regardless, I would love to see it, and, if I just have to, take it in stride with only getting GBA or regular GBC, and that'll be the end of Switch Online, then I'll take that too. But
Look, I want to play Bomberman 64 the second attack as much as the next guy, right? But sometimes I accept the fact that game just will not emulate properly and that it is more plausible for us to get a Game Boy game instead because it is more stable. So,
yeah,
Nintendo 64 is sadly a long ways off, and I'm going to be in favor if these developers want to remake these games. But otherwise, I do not think Nintendo 64 Online is going to happen. Game Boy Online, I will be thankful if it does.
Yeah, I feel like N64 will be more remake stuff. Also, Bomberman multiplayer sounds fun. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Might I
Well-
introduce you to Bomberman 64, the second attack, the best Zelda game you've never played?
Yes, please.
Okay.
well, Amanda, do you want to say anything else to shatter my hopes and dreams?
So here's what I'm thinking. I could definitely
Okay.
see another Nintendo Direct happening. I think if it happens, it'll be the week of the 20th, just because Labor Day happened later this year, so everything's kind of pushed back. And that would be their final push for Metroid Dread and the OLED. I think if there is a major announcement, something is going to happen at the Game Awards. They're either going to reveal the Smash Fighter or they're going to reveal Breath of the Wild 2. I could see in the next Direct, if we have one in September, I know people have been talking about Silk Song, the Hollow Knight sequel. That could be a time to show it. Also,
Yeah.
Splatoon 3. I think I could see those shown for sure.
Okay. The
Like, do you
20th
think
is,
they'll
like,
do you think
not
they'll
so
do
far
like a
away.
name drop for Breath of the Wild 2?
I think the
Yeah.
name for Breath of the Wild is going to be the last thing they show, simply because at one point they were mentioning how, like, okay, well, we don't want to give the title away just yet because that's going to give away too much of the game. So I think when we get the release date for Breath of the Wild 2, I think that's when we're going to get the title.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's a matter of when, because we don't know when in 2022 they're planning on dropping.
Yeah. But we're definitely going to get
It's
something at the
confirmed.
Game Awards, which is, November, December, something like that.
It'll probably be December.
I
Oh,
forgot
God. He's
about
totally
that.
going to do a drop there. God, Jeff Keighley!
Yeah.
Because, that's when we got the Joker reveal.
And
That's also when we
Sephiroth.
got
Yeah.
some other Breath of the Wild
And the
stuff.
And
Yeah,
we've
the-
seen
the
Breath of the Wild at the
Champions
Game
Ballad
Awards
DLC
before. We're
dropped
going to
that
get
night.
something big at that, especially since Nintendo was not at PAX.
Yeah.
I remember
Whoa.
that night when Champions Ballad came out because I got home from a movie and they're like, they dropped the release date of Champions Ballad. Okay, cool. When is it? Tonight. What?
Have fun.
I remember
Man.
that.
Yeah.
There's probably gonna be like Zelda stuff at Game Awards, man.
Oh, 100%.
Am I the only one that gets like weirdly anxious about these kinds of things? I feel
No.
nervous for some
How
reason.
do you?
I mean, I do too.
Every time I see announcements like this, my anxiety level just like peaks like 4 times.
Yeah.
Because like, oh
Yeah.
god, now content level, we all have to be prepared to basically go into full Zelda mode. I think we're
Yep.
mostly okay for now, until Breath of the Wild 2 starts actually showing up, and then it's gonna be full on panic for like 4 months.
We've got a system worked out though. Like Age of
We
Calamity
do.
was our dress rehearsal, and that way
And- And now I think we're gonna be ready for it.
yeah, no, it's just like, okay, this is just any other announcement, and we know what to do, and we'll be
Yep.
fine.
Will
So-
it stop me from not flailing? No, but
No, of course not.
Is Breath of the Wild 2 confirmed for 2022?
I
Yeah,
believe so.
well, yeah.
That was all we got at the end of that trailer.
He said that
Okay.
they're pushing for a 2022 release, but I don't know if it was ever actually confirmed.
I think it was in the
said-
trailer.
It is in the trailer
was it?
because I remember I edited a video for Arlo, and Arlo did one of those trailer slowdown things, and we got to the date part, and Arlo's like, and then at the end of the trailer, you'll notice there's a typo. It says the game's coming out 2022.
That's right.
When in actuality, it's coming out this year because I want it so badly. It's coming out 2022.
I could
Right.
imagine though,
Okay.
if they're sort of still pushing for that date, that probably means it won't be in March. If they're trying to get it to that, I have an idea that if it does happen, in
Unless they were
2022,
planning on it being this year, and 2022 is the pushback.
Oh, I guess we don't know if they were.
Yeah, it's hard to say if they were trying to do 2021 and then decided to put it to first quarter of 2022, or if we're seeing like really if it's is it going to be March or is it going to be September or November?
Right.
It's a
You know,
spring,
It's one or
fall,
the other.
pick one.
Another thing I'm thinking about, before I move on to, whatever my thoughts are for this direct, whatever they are, I don't think that necessarily confirms 2022 either, because didn't Breath of the Wild get pushed back? At the very least, Animal Crossing did.
We've
Breath
talked
of the
about
Wild got
Wild
pushed
in
back several
2014.
It got pushed
Yeah.
back, but to be fair, it was the situation with the Switch, and they weren't ready to announce the Switch until right before it came out, and they seemed to have pushed it back so that it could be on the Switch hardware.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
so the
think we-
timeline for that, yeah, so obviously when it first got announced, it was supposed to come out in like 2015. That didn't happen. But if we're going to fast forward a bit, when 2016 rolled around, when we finally got the name of the game, and they just said it was coming out in 2017 with the Nintendo NX. Then they had that presentation at the beginning of 2017, where the final thing in that presentation was Breath of the Wild's release date. And they said that was March 3rd or whatever.
I still get
2017.
chills watching. That's like my
There was a
favorite.
I
picture of
remember
me with a
that
glass
mic
of
drop
wine
moment.
crying over that.
It's so good.
I remember like
So-
audibly shouting, "Oh my god!" when I saw that launch date.
It
So
was, yeah, it was beautiful.
It's possible
such a
it'll
good
come out in
moment.
March 2022. If we don't get the name of the game by the end of January of next year, it's probably not coming out in 2022. Or
Or
it's
at
probably not
least-
coming out in March. But
Right,
March
right.
is plausible. If it's not March, I don't see April or May. It could be one of those June games that gets released like the week of E3, but I feel like that's a little weird for such a big game.
makes more
It's
sense
too big of a
for
game.
Splatoon.
It's
For
too
Zelda.
big of a game for that.
Yeah, so
I could
if it's not
see-
March, I'm inclined to believe that it would be the holiday game in
Yeah,
November.
I say March
Yeah.
or November, nothing else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
midsummer is not a really big for a game like that. It cannot come in the middle of the year. I feel like it's too big for that. They'd want to lump that in with a holiday, so everyone's getting that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Splatoon.
no, you're right. You're right.
Splatoon seems like it'd be a good middle of the year, and then Breath of the Wild could just go on either side of
That's
that.
probably
Yeah.
true.
It can
So
either
here's
kick
what
off the
I'll
year
say.
or end it.
Nintendo has gotten into the habit of releasing a June game, usually the week of or after E3. So in
Yeah.
2017, it was ARMS. In 2019, it was Mario Maker 2. And this
And
year, it
then
was
this
Mario Golf. So if they're going to do that, yeah, I do agree Splatoon 3 lines up with that a little better. They might even release Splatoon 3 in, like, May. That is when the first Splatoon game
Yeah, I
came out.
remember
And
it being
then
in May.
And then 2 came
Splatoon
out too around that
2
time, right?
Splatoon 2 was like July, yeah, it came out a month after E3. So they might do a similar thing with Splatoon 3 where that's their middle of the year game. So if that's the case, yeah, okay, let's plan out that. So January has Legends Arceus, but that's Pokemon Company. So we're going to say Nintendo has something coming out in February or March. Maybe the Kirby game, I don't know. Middle of the year is probably Splatoon 3. End of the year is probably Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay.
I think that's their time.
It's a 50-50 shot. Yeah, I that seems like it could be the right call if we're assuming that they're pushing because they're not entirely sure if it's going to get to that point, or they're just trying.
I'm still saying March. I'm being hopeful.
I actually kind of hope it's March too, but we'll see what
I
happens.
hope it's March
That
so
would be a
I can
5-year
get the stress
anniversary,
underneath.
so I could see March.
Yeah, I would like to see March. We'll see how it goes.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Well, I guess I'll kind of wrap us up here. So, for this direct, I'm thinking it's probably going to be a bit more moderate than what some people might be expecting. As with all things like this, I'd love to be proven wrong. But if we get anything that isn't already expected, I think it's probably going to be clearing my throat just to kind of prepare myself for this. The long-rumored games for Zelda's 35th, like Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess HD, or whatever games are decided to be brought onto the Switch, right? I would love that. That'd be great. Just don't.
Same.
I can hear Yoshiller thinking in his head. Don't say it.
Don't be
Don't say
negative.
it.
Only positivity.
You can want what you want. I'm just trying to like plan it from a strategic perspective.
Let me dream,
Well.
man. Come on.
Let me dream. I don't know.
Fair.
I don't have much. Just
but,
give
you
me
know,
that.
It could either be that. It could also be, more details or announcements pertaining to some existing games, like maybe some Mario Party DLC. That, or, which again serves as a great segue into our last topic, which is a small aside, like, hey, Amiibo are still a thing, and these next Smash figures will be available on this date. Also, check out Sakurai presenting the last and final fighter for Smash on whatever the date ends up being. Which, if you ask me, it's a guarantee before the end of the year. And if I had to really put a date on it, I would probably estimate the third or last week of October. This would give Nintendo a packed out month for around October with Metroid, Mario Party, new Switch model, and then this last fighter. Plus, it would give them an opportunity to, for the holiday season, say, hey, play all these great new games on the new Switch OLED model, which, we have Smash Brothers and all of its DLC on it. Play with your family for the holidays or whatever sort of taglines the marketing teams can think of. So, final Smash fighter, I'm thinking somewhat soon, maybe in like the next month and a half. Though not as soon as others are thinking, but definitely before year's end. So, as it pertains to not necessarily who it's going to be, but when it'll be, do you guys think that final Smash Fighter, it's maybe October, different day? Any idea?
Nah, I think
Didn't they
that's a good
say end of
guess.
2021? They said the end of the year we'd know, because that would be the last one.
Yeah.
I
And I was going to say something, but go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, a timeline perspective, typically it's every, like, 2-3-ish months. We'll at least hear a little bit more about the next fighter. And for the month of September, I think this month was supposed to be the month that lines up for when we're supposed to be here about the final fighter. So,
All right,
seeing
here
it
we
in
go
October.
then. I'm gonna make the guess. All right.
Uh-oh.
Nintendo
Okay.
Direct will be announced on September 14th and will air either the 15th or the 16th. And the Sakurai Presents that will follow it will air the following week on the 22nd or the 23rd.
You've heard it here first.
All right.
Okay.
Where he announces Mr. Driller as the final fighter.
My man, Mr. Driller, with the Mr. Driller stage and the music,
Oh.
and everyone will be so disappointed, and I will go, boom, baby, I'm out of here. Packing my bags. I'm packing my
if
bags.
that
I'm going to
happens-
Vegas.
If that happens, I need a video of you just dancing and vibing.
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas. Is what I'm going to do next because I am calling the shots. All right.
Wow.
Love it.
Dang, so that's like, I guess that would line up pretty well because usually whenever they announce like Sir Sakurai is going to present this, it's like a week after
Usually.
or so.
Yeah, the exception
So-
was E3.
Yeah, I guess that could make sense.
All right, and the exception was also Steve. Okay, so I guess it hasn't been every time, but it usually
Yeah.
is.
Usually, that's right. I will say this though, I think it's a pretty much a guarantee that whatever fighter it ends up being will definitely not be announced during a direct or on top of something. It'll definitely exist in its own. And
Unless
it'll be like
it's
a big
something
like,
they
final event.
really want to not highlight. If it's
Like what?
if it's a character that they think is not going to be super hype, which I sure hope it isn't, because it's the last announcement. But
yeah,
if
this
it's
was not
not,
great.
like if they think it's not going to get a huge reaction, there's a very solid chance they're just going to stick it in somewhere.
That's a no.
We don't want that, to be clear.
No, I don't want that to be true.
Everyone's plans are falling apart. Oh God! Ah!
No. Ah. Okay. Well, so Yashiller thinks what? That's like pretty much last week of September. Last full week of September. I'm thinking
I'm saying
last
this week and
of,
next week, my man.
I'm the one who
Well,
said
you,
last
you said the
week.
22nd.
I was the one that said the
No,
week
that's-
of
would be
20th.
Sakurai.
Yeah,
So that's the last
The
full week.
22nd is when the Sakurai presents is. The
Gotcha.
Nintendo Direct. The Nintendo Direct. That's this week, baby. Look forward to it.
Yeah. And then for me, I think this whatever final Smash character will probably be revealed at some point later, mid to late October. That's my guess.
I'll go
I
say
don't know.
Game Awards. Screw it.
Yeah, Game Awards could be.
Oh, that's another good one.
Because you know what? I'll double down. Game Awards drop that night. Don't even care.
Yeah, I think if it's Game Awards, it'll be like out
It'll be
either
that
out
night
that
for
day
sure.
or tomorrow
Within the week.
Sakurai Presents or something
It'll
like
be.
that.
In fact, you can download it right now on your Nintendo Switch.
They will absolutely do that, and then the next morning we'll post a Sakurai Presents explaining it. But no, yeah, I'm gonna double down on that. If it's not
Oh my God.
part of the direct, it's with Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
All the uncertainties giving me heart palpitations.
Oh,
You're
I'm
gonna get something big with
just
Jeff
stressed.
Keighley for sure.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it's Smash or Zelda, and I'm afraid for both. I'm more afraid for it being Zelda. Damn it, Jeff!
It's gonna be whichever one whatever they don't show in the direct is gonna be the big one that they show at the Game Awards. I think it's gonna be Zelda at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
I kinda
think
do too, actually.
I think Zelda's a pretty good slot for that.
God damn it, Jeff.
What do you think, Kira? When's it gonna happen?
Bro, I don't know. If I didn't have anxiety before this podcast, now I do.
Yeah, I do too. It's the worst.
I can
Why?
calm down now that my Kung Fu eval is over, so it's like, okay, I can focus on anything.
Nice.
My anxiety has finally gone down.
I want that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you should have seen me beforehand. I was a wreck.
That's fair.
Give us the date, Kira. When is it?
Oh, I gotta give you a date.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to get the right one.
Oh,
Yeah.
or else what?
If you're wrong, I will. I don't know what I'll do, but you won't like it.
Okay, all right. I think it makes more sense for the Smash Fighter to be in the Nintendo Direct in early fall, the theoretical Nintendo Direct, and then I think it would be more hype if there was a Zelda reveal at the Game Awards show. I think it would be more hype in having it be that way.
Okay. So you think? I think Yoshiller's actually onto something pretty close to the truth here. In that, if there's a Nintendo Direct, there's a pretty high probability we'll hear about it before Tuesday. And for the record, this is Saturday we're talking about. We're recording this on a Saturday. So, in the next 3 to 4 days, if we don't hear anything, then it's definitely the following week. So you're thinking, if we see something Smash related, that will probably be in the next 3 to 4 days, whenever that Direct goes up.
Yeah, I think so. I'm the last person to ask when it comes to Smash and Smash predictions because, I don't really do Smash that much. But I just think it makes so much sense. There's so much hype and there's so many different kind of gamers that watch the Game Awards that it just seems like, Breath of the Wild 2 is so hype and is so huge. I think that it would be, it'd be like the last cool reveal we get before the end of the year. And I think for some reason that a name drop and more footage of Breath of the Wild, possibly a release date, would be more hype than a Smash character reveal, because let's be honest, it doesn't matter who the Smash character is going to be. Someone's going to be disappointed. Ain't no one going to be disappointed about a release date on Breath of the Wild 2 and a name drop.
True.
Oh God, you're right.
Preach it.
You know what?
Just saying.
I
You know what? By the time the Game Awards roll around, Smash speculation will be over, will be free, and then we can move on to
Will be
speculating
free.
we can move on to speculating the DLC for Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl, and I will join you guys. for
Oh,
that
I am
boy.
so
podcast.
excited for that
Oh,
That's right.
Nigel Thornberry main,
Ah,
let's
man,
go.
Vader Zeb.
Smashing.
My man
Jeez.
Zeb.
Unbelievably hyped for that game.
Well, and with that, that concludes our discussion. Once again, if you're still watching or listening, thank you for making it this far, and I look forward to hearing you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. We'll be back next month for some more discussion and possibly talking about whatever the final predictions are for our Smash, all that thing, getting real specific about who we want and who we think would have the best shot. That's probably what we're going to be talking about for this next episode is what I'm trying to say. But for now, there's only one thing left to say before we take off, and that is, let's go around the table here and get like 5 seconds or so of like where are we going to find you on the internet, starting with you, Alex.
You can find me at Luca_Starks on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram. I hopefully will be back on Twitch streaming in about a week or so. Hopefully the week of the 20th, depending on whether I get my studio set up, all set up. Worst case, October 1st, I start Resident Evil 2 Remake. Because I decided I want to be scared.
Is there spiders
that's a
in
good
that?
one to
I
do
don't
it.
know why I did that.
Okay.
No, but it's a horror game and it's
Tis the
spooky.
season.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I am slightly a fraidy cat, so it should be fun. Yeah, that's most of the things because I'm waiting on that. But streams should just come back up shortly.
Nice. Kira, what's up?
Yeah, you can catch me on YouTube at Ginger Gaiden. That is my Japan and anime channel. My Twitter is Kira, Kiira, Hedgehog, Kira Hedgehog. And my Twitch is Kira, Kiira, _Fox, Fox. If you don't know how to spell Fox, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that, but there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be streaming some Super Metroid soon, preparing for Dread, so it'll be fun.
Sick. Nice.
I'm gonna cry
I'm excited.
because I suck at games, and that's like a really hard game.
So yeah, it scares me. So I can't. I need to play a Metroid at some point. Just the idea of the challenge is really intimidating. So I get you. Sam, what about you?
I can be found under Nintendo Fangirl on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and the Nintendo Fangirl on TikTok and Facebook, and Nin Fangirl on Twitch. And I got some fun stuff coming up that I'm working with Nintendo on that I can't talk about.
Aren't you streaming right after this podcast?
I
also?
will be streaming some WarioWare right after this. Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
Tell Wario I said hi.
Yeah, Wario, my best friend. And if you watch my YouTube channel, you can see the garlic scented things that are scattered all over my desk right now. I should be getting that unboxing up today.
Great.
I both hate and love that for you.
Yeah, me too.
What about you, Amanda?
You can find me on Twitter at Amanda Van Heil. You can find me on Twitch at Panda Princessa. I'm on Insta at Panda Princessa Streams. And I'm on the Zelda Universe TV YouTube channel.
Sweet. And Yoshiller, round us out.
I am Yoshiller. I wear a Yoshi hat. You can find me at youtube.com/Yoshiller or twitter.com/real_Yoshiller. And I try to do content on the regular.
You like Yoshi?
Nice.
I do, actually. Which is
I had
probably
no
why
idea.
Wario doesn't hang out with me.
I really had no idea you liked Yoshi.
I do like him, yeah.
I see you at events. I feel like it's like super hard to miss you now because you have the Yoshi hat, and I found out today that you're 6'4".
I'm pretty tall. I like that
Yep.
I'm 6'4", because it's like 6'4".
It makes you really easy to find you.
Like Nintendo. Thank you. That's good. I'm glad. I like
Yup.
this genetic pool that I got tapped into. It works out.
That is a fact I didn't know about you until today, and it still blows my mind.
Yeah, I hit my head a lot. Maybe that's why I'm not as smart as I could be, but it works out that way.
All right, and I think that's going to do it for today's discussion. Thank you guys so much for joining me today in this month's episode, you guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to do my best to make sure that this podcast is run on a monthly basis and gets regularly updated over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That way you can listen to these discussions in whichever way you prefer. Anyway, with that concludes our discussion. So, with all of that said, without further ado, there's only one thing left to say before we take off. And that is, of course, as always, I'm alecandstuff, and I will see you all again real soon. Bye-bye!